What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long-term issues and no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Friday edition of the Pandemic Update for Friday, February 9th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, yes, we do talk about COVID and other viruses as well. As you can see here, our first story is going to be about flu in North Carolina. This is where I try to keep you healthy, informed, and help you to stay safe and in the know with what is going on when there's so much of a lack of information of this day and age. If you enjoy this type of content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Wasn't certain if I was going to do a pandemic update today. We did do that extra video earlier on just my opinion overall of people trying to cover up the word COVID and COVID just not getting enough attention or being labeled as something else. But I started thinking, you know what, we need to do a pandemic update today. We see what happens when I miss a day because I did some other video. It ends up being a really long video the next day, and it's Friday, so a lot of the CDC data did update today, and plus a couple of these stories I do need to bring to your attention, such as this first one. North Carolina now says 10 children have died from flu in North Carolina this season. But let's read down below. You know, sometimes we just read a headline. Not this case. We actually need to go deeper into the article because this is really concerning. Raleigh, North Carolina. There has been another jump in the number of flu deaths in North Carolina, including 3 more children. The State Department of Health and Human Services says there have been 26 more flu deaths since last Wednesday's update. Here's where it gets concerning. The total deaths now stand at 232, compared to 196 for all of last season. So they're already way past last season's total, and here we are at February 9th. This number will likely go up through the rest of February, and probably through most of March as well. The report now shows 10 children have died from flu, 6 of those between 5 and 17 years old, and 4 under the age of 5. Ooh, that's sad. So, yeah, flu deaths, they're getting to a concerning level in North Carolina. Moving over to the UK real quickly. Highly infectious measles cases rise a concerning 34% in a week, with 2/3 of infections in children under 10. Yeah, whatever happens over in the UK, remember, can happen here down the line in the U.S. Like, for example, in the UK for flu season, their indicator would be Australia. And oftentimes that can be our indicator as well. Well, for what goes on here, a lot of times the UK is our indicator. So they're seeing measles going up. We've already seen it going up, and you know what? It could continue going up because it's happening in the UK. So it's something we do have to concern ourselves with. All right, moving on now. Let's take a look at today's air qualities. I have to refresh this. It goes gray about every 3 to 5 minutes, and hopefully it will come up because we do have some concerning air qualities for today in some parts of the U.S. Yeah, the eastern U.S. continues to be concerning. Not terrible on the west coast, though. Sacramento area of California, it is fireplace season, so maybe that's why you're seeing some poor air qualities today. And even in the southeast U.S., there's a few poor air quality areas as well. All right, if you want to learn more about the weather and climate, as you know, I got another channel where I do that. It's Climate Data Report. There'll be a link card for that down below, and of course in the description. We just did today's weather video, and I'm going to be doing updates there daily, just like I do here, and I do focus some time to that channel as well, just as much as I do it this channel. But for that channel to do the weather forecast, it does actually take a bit more research. All right, moving on now. Taking a look at Walgreens, we do know that Walgreens this week, there were a few states that had rising positivity, but the national trend is down to 26.6% versus 27.3%. That's down by 0.7%. Testing also dropped. Speaking of states, some states rising, you're going to see some of that in CDC data today that may actually surprise you. All right, taking a look at the national hospital capacity levels here, we can see it did just update. It is at 77.8% for all patients, so 77.8% of all beds are in use, 2.9% for COVID, influenza 1.2%. How about ICU usage? Where is that at? 72.6%. COVID-19 is at 2.7%, and influenza is at 1.5%. We're not going to get into any states today. We'll probably do that over the weekend, where news is usually slower, or data is slower as well, but you never know. We've had a few weekends as of lately where news has gotten busy. All right, we want to take a look at what's going on nationally with wastewater. I do believe I need to refresh this. Not certain if I did or not, so let's take a look here. All right, new sites, there's 35 of them in the white. These really dark shade of blue, 0 to 19. That's now up to 43 sites. We like seeing that rise. That means there's less sites that are in the red or in the orange, but there's still quite a few. Let's follow along here. 20 to 39% COVID detected, that's at 150. 40 to 59% COVID detected, that's at 331. Now we come into the high levels. Still 420 that are at 60 to 79% COVID detected. Still 198 that are at 80 to 100% COVID detected. You can see here, look down in the Houston area of Texas. A lot of red going on, and orange. Ooh, that's really concerning. Atlanta, Georgia, also a lot of red going on. North Carolina, Virginia, the I-95 corridor. Yes, we're still seeing some areas that have far too much red and orange showing up on this map. All right, taking a look at the national levels, you can see very high in Texas. Again, Houston, you saw what was going on there. That's a big reason. Very high in North Carolina, very high Virginia, very high in Kentucky, and still very high in the Dakotas as well, although North Dakota is not reporting. I shouldn't say Dakotas, I should just say South Dakota, because North Dakota does not report for some reason. Low levels in Oregon and Nevada. California is at high levels, and let's see where else. Ohio is still in moderate levels at this time. Taking a look at deaths in the past week, we do need to refresh this statistic, although it is correct. 3.1% deaths in the past week. And taking a look here, look at this. Mississippi, 42.2% increase in deaths this week. Yikes, that's not good. Taking a look at Iowa, 7.5% increase. Florida still had an increase in deaths as well. Percent change from prior week. It is saying, wow, 48.1% increase. Jeez, that's just bad. Come on, Florida. Maryland still going up. West Virginia, Kentucky. Massachusetts had an increase in deaths this week as well. And it says difference from prior week. I know you can't see this, but it does say difference from prior week. Let's see. There you go. Percent change. 46.4%. Absolute difference from prior week is 1.3%. So yeah, it's still going up some places. Then you have other places that are going down a little bit faster now, one of them being California. Continuing on here, hospital admissions, they're down 10% in the past week. That's really good. 20,772. But we do want to take a look at this. And this has me concerned. We do have some states where epidemic status is still growing or likely growing. Georgia, for example, it's growing. Maine, likely growing. Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, likely growing. Kansas, likely growing. Nebraska, growing still. But we do have places that are declining, which declining, it represents the drop size of growing. So declining pretty good in Nevada. Let's see if that actually holds. Las Vegas, you got the Super Bowl this weekend. Huge numbers of people in Las Vegas. In fact, it's supposed to be a record number of private planes are supposed to land in Las Vegas. I thought I heard something about that. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see what goes down there. And, you know, with you're talking private planes, you're talking famous people, big public figures, celebrities. We'll have to see if any of them contract or catch COVID at the Super Bowl. And COVID levels, they are dropping in California at this time. That's good, declining. Coming down to flu. Yep, flu is rising in some places as well. Growing status in Maine, Kansas, and Oklahoma, likely growing in Pennsylvania, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And then we do have other areas that are likely declining or declining with the Southwest and the Southeast states. At this point, they are declining. Taking a look at flu levels here, you can see there are several states still at very high levels. New York City, though not a state, you're still at very high levels, which is much different from the rest of New York State. I'm really glad they separate this. The rest of New York State is really just at moderate levels at this time. And you can see here, actually, no, it is at low levels. Then we take a look at South Carolina, Arkansas, Texas, you're still at very high levels. Then we come down here, New Mexico, very high for you. Wyoming, still very high. And then we have a whole slew of states that are still in the high category as well. And several are still in moderate stage as well, such as Alaska, Florida, and Idaho. Moving on, we know that the dominating variant is still JN.1 at 93.1%. Taking a look at Philadelphia EMS calls, I'm sorry, that is not today's report. Here comes today's report. Today is lucky sevens. 777 EMS calls were reported on Thursday. Taking a look at a live look-in at Montgomery County, I've been watching this today. It's been a little bit higher today than the past several days. Respiratory calls have been up, and there are a couple. I'm seeing a cardiac call, seizures. Yeah, it's not a good period right now in Montgomery County. How about Chester County? Wow, a lot of falls. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different calls for falls in Chester County. 1 for heart problems, 1 for strokes, and 1 emotional disorder. New Jersey, more hospitals reported today. Thank goodness, because yesterday was just ridiculous. With only, I think, what was it, 3 hospitals? 67 out of 70 hospitals reported today. 768 hospitalizations, 36 people on a ventilator, 99 people in the ICU. And how many people got to go home for the weekend? Well, 101 people were discharged for COVID from the hospital in New Jersey. New York State, 2,620 new cases. And hospitalizations. I don't think this updated today. It says on the date, it says here 9th, but this is the same number I believe from yesterday. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. 1,808 people in the hospital, 195 people in the ICU. Taking a look at LA, or California first, then we'll take a look at LA. California, everything at this point in time is dropping in California. COVID testing, deaths, new admissions, influenza hospital admission, influenza deaths, and influenza tests are dropping at this time. Of course, we would like to see testing be higher, but hey, all the levels are dropping, so that is some good news at this time. Now, LA. Hospitalizations have dropped in LA, and deaths did rise slightly in January, but they have since dropped. And taking a look at testing. Testing has kind of leveled off. Seems as to me as if there's not much of a drop in testing and people feel the need to go to get tested again because it's not dropping all that much. So that's rather interesting. We'll have to see if anything comes out of that. And emergency department visits also have leveled off at this time in LA. They're not really dropping all that much, though wastewater has shown a significant drop in Los Angeles, California. Alrighty guys, that does it for today's pandemic update. Of course, if you want to see me when I am not doing videos or in between updates, follow me on my Twitter account at COVID Data Report. Alrighty guys, I'll see you all again next time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, share this with anyone who needs to see it. Remember, we're trying for 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube by the end of this year to help you stay informed and stay in the know of what is going on with this darn virus, which just does not seem to want to end and probably won't end for many years to come. I'll see you all again next time. Stay safe, everyone. Have a fantastic Friday evening. Thanks for watching.